So guys, before I continue with this video, please let me draw your attention to the fact that if you are below 18 years, you will need a letter from your parents in order to undergo studies in Spain. Because if you do not get this letter, the embassy is not going to give you a student visa. So you need a guardian letter or a letter of consent. That is how it is called. Now, today's video is going to be on studies in Spain and a step-by-step guide on what you are going to do. I will also talk about the visa application and the visa documents. I will also talk about what you need to know when you are applying for schools in Spain. So the first thing I want to elaborate on is the issue of the schools. First of all, understand that Spain is a country where English is not that spoken. All right, let me say the first language in Spain is Spanish and not English. So if you are an international student who is looking for studies in English language, you will need to start your research, because without the research you are not going to know what is happening. Now, why do I say you need to start your research? Because you need to check schools, right? You need to check those schools in Spain that are going to teach programs in English or have a program that you are interested in. All right, that is what I mean. Now, as soon as you identify a school that teach in English, let me also say here that most Spanish universities may not teach bachelor's programs in English, but you will find some master's programs in English language in some Spanish university. I talk about the University of Malaga, Zaragoza, but it doesn't mean that all these schools I'm mentioning, they have English programs at the bachelor's degree level. So it is now your duty to check which one is available. But if you are looking for bachelor's degree programs in English, or let me say bachelor's programs and master's programs in English language, then you are going to try maybe private school, business schools in Spain, because I know private schools and business schools have these programs, all right, in English language. But again, as a disclaimer, I do not have anything to do with any private school in Spain or a public school, all right. I'm just sharing knowledge to international students. However, before going to these private schools, understand that public universities are going to be cheaper than private universities. All right, that is something you need to pay attention to, because a lot of people don't understand this until they are at the application stage. No, check the tuition fee to be aware. All right, like I said, most business schools and private schools in Spain will have programs in English language and of course at the level of the bachelor's and master's degree, but the tuition fee is going to be expensive, a little expensive, more than that of a private public university. I'm not saying that there are no public universities that tuition fee are higher than private schools in Spain. There is a video I did on this particular channel where I talked about some cheap universities, all right, and I mentioned some that you could get a program for like 1,000 euros. It all depends now to verify that. All right, so as soon as you've done your research, you've identified a school or a university that has a program you want to study, then it is now time for you to do the application. Most applications will only be online. All right, you have to apply online. You create an account. If you are a new student applying for the school, you haven't applied before, you need to create an account. Then you put in your details, your names, then you upload your documents and you wait. In the case of private universities, it may take months, or it all depends on the program and the schedule, but always follow the dates. All right, because most private schools will always put it on their website. Most private schools will always put it on their website on when the admissions is going to run, when application is ending, and when decisions are going to be out. Now again, there is something I want you to pay attention to when applying for private universities in Spain, especially business schools. You should understand that it may entail an interview. All right, you may be called up for an interview, and the interview is not usually that difficult. That's something you should understand. Then before you even do the application, there are documents you need to submit for your applications. Basically your high school certificates, your bachelor's degree certificate in case you are applying for masters, and your motivation letter, maybe a CV. All right, most private schools like business schools, I'm talking now from experience, will always ask you for motivation letters, reference letters, CV, working experience. All right, if you have actually worked somewhere, it all depends. Then after that, they may call you for an interview if you meet their requirements, and After that, after the interview, you will get an admissions letter. So that is how it functions in most private or maybe business schools in Spain. Now, the next thing you have to do is, after your admissions letter, you have to apply for a Spanish student visa or a student visa to Spain. If you are watching from Nigeria or Ghana or Cameroon, there is a Spanish embassy in almost all these countries. For Cameroon, I do not know where it is, or I'm not very sure if it's in Cameroon, but it's in Ghana and Nigeria as well. So before even going to the embassy, know that you have to book an appointment, and if you have issues on documentation or what you need to submit, I would suggest you call the embassy. But like I said at the beginning of the video, if you are less than 18 years, you may need a letter of consent or an authorization from your parents to show that they will allow you go and study in Spain. Alright, now if you are at the level of the embassy, you need a visa. There are visa documents you need to submit, but first you have to fill in the visa application form, and also remember that you can only go to the embassy via an appointment. Alright, now the first document you need to apply for the visa, the Spanish student visa or the student visa to Spain, is a visa document or a visa application form. That is the first document you need to fill it. Alright, probably you download from the Spanish embassy's website, then you fill the document, you submit alongside the other documents I will be giving you now. The other documents include your international passport. I always insist that your international passport should be at least 1.5 years before you apply for the student visa. That is, I mean, it shouldn't be expiring anytime before you get the student visa, because it is going to disturb a lot, and the embassy may not even stamp that passport. Alright, so that's something you should pay attention to. Don't take a passport that is just 6 months to expiring date to apply for a Spanish visa or a Spanish student visa. It's very important. The other document you need is your birth certificate. I think Nigerians, they call it, is it testimonial? I'm not very certain, but everybody has a birth certificate. So you need to take this birth certificate. It has to be legalized. Cameroonians, you are taking it to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Even Nigerians and Ghanaians, in as much as you are applying for a Spanish student visa, you need to legalize your birth certificate. Alright, Cameroonians, you are going to take it to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. You do the legalization there. And again, you need, the other document is your admissions offer. Your admissions offer from the private university in Spain or the public university in Spain. You need it to apply for the visa. Again, you need proof of payment of tuition fee. If you didn't know, this is something you should know now. Spanish universities, when you are applying to them, they will give you an admissions letter, but they will give you a conditional admissions offer. Alright, most universities around the world now will always give you but a conditional offer, and the condition on it is, the first condition is usually you pay a tuition deposit, and Spanish universities always do this. So when you get the admissions letter from your university, you will be asked to pay a tuition fee deposit, and most Spanish universities, the deposit will cost around 1,000 euros, but most business schools will take you to around between 1,000 to 1,500 euros. I know a business schools that will charge you around 1,450 euros. Alright, so that is what you should pay attention to, and also understand that until you pay this money before you can apply for the visa and before you can get the unconditional offer. Alright, and without the unconditional offer you cannot apply for the visa. So that's something you should pay attention to. Again, you need a proof of accommodation. Proof of accommodation now is either you get a housing tract from the school dormitory, or you get it from a private apartment, but I will always emphasize or insist you go for the school dormitory, since you are going to be new in Spain, maybe in Madrid, Zaragoza, Malaga, or whichsoever city, maybe Seville or Barcelona. You have to, it is good for you to identify your locality or your area before you start moving around looking for where to get accommodation, since you are just new. So get accommodation for school on school campus first. Then when you settle in Spain, you may decide to quit the school accommodation. Not quit after your contract expires. Remember, if you quit, you are going to be in problems, and it is not good to live long in the school dormitory because the fee is going to be high. So just do that, and when you arrive Spain, you sort out everything. Now, when it comes to proof of funds, I talked about accommodation. Proof of funds, because again, remember, no embassy is going to give you a visa if you do not have accommodation or where you are going to live. All right. Now, proof of funds is also very important because it is a financial document that you are going to show the embassy that you have money or you have sponsors that can take care of you. And proof of funds sometimes depend on how much your tuition fee is. There is no fixed amount, but just make sure you have enough money, at least 8,000 euros. Now, this is my point. If your tuition fee is less than, maybe let's just assume that your tuition fee is 9,000 euros and you pay 1,000 euros as deposit, remember you are still left with 8,000 euros, all right? Because Spanish schools, they are not that cheap, but there are cheaper options, all right? So if you pay 1,000 euros out of 8,000 euros, you are still left with 7,000 euros to pay. Let's assume it this way. Then what you are going to do now is to calculate how much you are going to spend for accommodation and feeding. And in Spain, I think it should be around 550 to 600 euros a month for your accommodation, your feeding, and your transportation. If you must manage, this is for a management person. Then let's assume that you are spending 600 euros a month. All right, now you need a student visa for at least 1 year and before you can do a residence permit. So you have to multiply 600 euros by 12. Then you add the money. If you multiply 600 euros by 12, it is going to give you a certain amount. Then you add to the balance of your tuition fee. That is the amount of money you should have in your bank account or in the bank account to show the Spanish embassy that you are good to go. All right, but in cases where your tuition fee is less than the amount I just gave an example on, then you can just do this calculation and you submit your document. All right, that is how it is. Now also understand that when you want to study in Spain, proof of funds is very important. Don't forget this. Now, for medical insurance, it is also one of the documents you need. You need to call the embassy to get these documents, all right? Because sometimes most embassies will want you to do a medical insurance with their own companies they have put in place, all right? Like the German embassy, maybe the Luxembourg officials. Even when you want to travel to Belgium, you need to go to their doctors to do your results. So with the case of the medical insurance to study in Spain or to apply for a Spanish student visa, you should contact the embassy to know the insurance company they would like you to go do the insurance. That is my advice for you. Now, moving further, you also need flight reservation, all right? It's either you pay the flight or you reserve the flight, but most people will they usually use booking.com to get flight reservations. But again, when you are booking, know that you must not do the payment. And even if you are asked to pay or if you must pay one-way ticket, all right? Some people will say two-way. I usually say in some of my videos, and for some particular countries, it's good to pay two-way because the immigration will disturb. But I think Spain with one-way ticket is okay. All right, that's something you should pay attention to. You also need your medical report. All right, your medical report should come from, ask the embassy if they have some particular doctors if they are dealing with, but if they say they do not deal with a group of persons or some particular doctors, then go to state hospitals and do the test. If you do it in private clinics, you are in serious trouble. Go to state hospitals. All right, because if you must know, the test that you are going to do is a HIV test, tuberculosis test, hepatitis B. All right, these are the various tests you are going to do. Then you submit them alongside your visa documents, the other documents you are submitting. So know that. Now, when it comes to the embassy, you remember you are applying for a visa. There is Ghana, the visa fee is like 60 euros. All right, in Nigeria it used to be around 60, 70 or 80 euros, but I don't know if the fee is still 80 euros in Nigeria. In Cameroon, I'm not aware of the fee. But again, guys, I will say that before you do these things, always check the embassy's website and check other platforms, because we might produce a video today and tomorrow you notice that the requirements have changed, because these things, they change all the times, especially from Ukraine and all the other parts. So you should expect changes in especially in proof of funds and some certain documents, all right, when applying for visas abroad or in your home country to study abroad or move abroad. So these are some of the things you need to pay attention to before you apply for Spanish student visa. As of this moment you are watching the video, Understand that you may not get a school in Spain, a public university as of now, but you may get a private universities, may, because I know this is August, most of the schools are closed. And understand that, like I said at the beginning, tuition fee in Spanish private universities are somehow expensive. All right, so if you want to apply, put this into consideration and know that it is gonna be really expensive. Like maybe I'm talking about 5,000 to like 10,000 euros a year, all right, on some of these private universities. So that is something you should pay attention to, but at the end of the day, it is worth paying the money for tuition fee because you are going to get a lot of rewards. All right, I hope this video helps somebody. If it does, please do not forget to subscribe below and support the movement, guys. Until we meet again.